Hey, what's up? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Horror Debate. I am Jeff Rowdy Jake here, and with me, as always, Michael Mandy.
And this week we're going to be reviewing Carrie, directed by Brian De Palma, from 1976, starring, believe it or not, a bunch of people. You've probably heard these names before. Amy Irving, she was Mrs. Steven Spielberg for a while. Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, William Catt, the greatest American hero. Betty Buckley, she was the mom on Eight Is Enough. John Travolta. And my favorite, PJ Souls.
All right, well,
from
you know
Halloween,
and I got so much to talk about in this review. I'm going to try to do it like within. Give me 30 minutes, okay? No, I'm kidding.
This was back when nobody knew who the heck a guy named Stephen King was.
Exactly, man, and what a name he's made for himself over the years. But
he's done something since.
Yeah, just a few small things. But you know, the honest truth is, this movie, man, it had so much star power going. I was bowled over. You know, I hadn't watched this since I was a kid.
But you know what? Back in ¡76, they didn't have star power.
Well, they do now.
Yeah, they do.
And a lot of these names have it, you know? I mean...
well, I don't know. William Catt.
Hey, he's my star, man. He was the greatest American hero.
That's right. He was also in House.
Yeah, and in House... They made a second House, didn't they?
The Second Story.
Was that the Vacation House? Okay, anyway.
He wasn't in the Second Story, though. Okay, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool, though. House 2, the Second Story.
You said the people that were in it, but you didn't mention Sissy Spacek, who is Carrie.
I did say Sissy Spacek.
No, you did. I don't believe you did. But anyway, she was awesome in this movie.
Yep.
I just want to say that, you know, I've seen her in other roles, and the other role that comes to mind immediately is The American Haunting, which we did the review on previous. But I want to say that everything she does has integrity. Yeah. You know, everything she does has integrity. It stands up to the test of time, and Carrie, you know,
this was back when she was young too.
Yeah, absolutely proof of that, man. I mean, this is good stuff. And the thing is about you know, a movie like this where you're talking about the supernatural and you're talking about black magic kind of, and you know, just with the mom, you know,
Carrie's wasn't really mom. Black magic.
Well, what was she doing?
Telekinesis.
Well, but the mom was kind of into some black magic kind of thing, man.
No, she was just one of those religious people who go a little, a lot too far.
Yeah, which turns it into something a little black. But anyway, okay.
Well, whatever. No, when you say black magic, I'm talking about goats and sacrifices and pentagrams. No,
that's not what I was talking about. Okay. But anyway, that's all right. I mean, you know, I think we can both agree that every actor in this movie, with the exception of John Travolta, did a fantastic job.
Out of all the people in this movie, he's the one that went the farthest. Who'd have figured that one out?
You know, the funny thing is, I'm a huge Travolta fan. I am a big fan of Saturday Night Fever. I love almost everything this guy has done, and I laughed my butt off in this movie, man. Every time he was on the screen, he was so far gone, man. Dude was, you know, when he was getting smacked in the face by his chick, I was dying every time, man. I was like, man, she just nailed him, and he's sitting there smiling about it, you know. Good stuff. But yeah, PJ Souls, man. I mean, you know, classic. You can't say nothing more than that.
Halloween, and she was also in The Devil's Rejects too.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's still around.
She got knocked out in The Devil's Rejects. That's all I remember her for, is getting punched and knocked out. Yeah. Good stuff. But you know, Carrie, this is a movie that I remember watching when I was so young. My mom was a huge Stephen King fan, and we watched all these movies. And I remember the opening scene when she's in the shower, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to say this as delicately as possible. When she's in the shower at the very beginning, I remember being a kid and being, you know, not knowing anything about nothing, right? I had to be all of...
This movie taught you an awful lot,
Yeah, I had to be like 6 or 7, maybe 8 years old, right, when I first watched this with my mom. And I remember the shower scene when she has her first period, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought she got stabbed. I thought somebody...
That's Jeff, the horror movie nut, man.
I thought somebody shanked her in the shower, dude. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, man, she got hooked, you know? And I didn't know what all the other girls were throwing at her, man. Yeah. At the end, I'm like, what? They had to put something in that hole that they just stabbed you in, man. I mean, come on, you know? It was, I was so embarrassed to think about that.
Why are they throwing cotton at her?
Why are they Exactly.
She just got stabbed.
She just got stabbed. We didn't see who stabbed her.
Give her a Band-Aid at least.
Oh, it was a terrible. But
no wonder you're so messed up. This explains it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go.
You know what?
Is the reason.
You know what? This movie, and unfortunately, with a lot of the Stephen King movies, and I think we've probably talked about this a little bit before too, is that somehow the translation from the book to the movie, you know, isn't always the most wonderful translation in the world, okay? And a lot of times some of the substance is lost from the book, to the movie. I would say in this movie it was minimal. from the book to the movie?
Well, because the book, it was his first published book. It wasn't his first book he wrote, but it was the first one that actually he got paid for.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much in it. I mean, it's not one of his, 8,000-page overblown, subplots left and right with a giant monster of evil at the end to eat everybody. This was a very straightforward, minimalistic type book.
Yeah.
There wasn't much frosting on it. It was all meat and potatoes. I mean,
Right.
oh boy, I just mixed those two up.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of fluff around the edges. It was a
Yeah.
pretty solid, taut book. And, I was a big Stephen King reader. I had an older sister who worked in a bookstore, so I got The Shining, the first edition paperback of it. I remember when The Stand first came out, I have my original. I bought paperbacks back in those days. So Carrie...
Who did?
Yeah, Carrie and the Salem's Lot, he only had 4 books out when I got into Stephen King. So I hadn't seen this movie yet. I read the book Carrie first, which I think is a good thing, because then I knew what the heck was going on.
Right.
She didn't get stabbed. Why? Because I read the book.
Right. Now, who was the cute blonde? That was Piper Laurie? Is that who that
Piper
was?
Laurie was the psycho mom.
Oh, she was the psycho mom. So who was the cute blonde? Was that
cute blonde? PJ Souls.
No. The other cute blonde. The cuter blonde.
Oh, Nancy Allen.
The one, okay, that's right. And she's the one that was with Travolta, right? The one
Right,
that was
yes.
popping him upside his head every 30 seconds, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. That was
Perfect.
Nancy Allen.
Perfect. She was cute.
Yep.
And I thought she did a good job in the flick, too.
Yeah, she was in 1941.
1941?
Dress to Kill. She was in Dress to Kill.
On the
Remember-
Kiss album?
No, not the Kiss
Oh,
album.
I thought
Dress
she
to
was one
Kill-
of Gene's numbers.
No, well, maybe. No, Dress to Kill, the movie with Angie Dickinson where she gets it in the shower.
Got it.
Oh, yeah,
And
she
look
gets stabbed in the shower, too.
Look at all these parallels we draw from just the people
Boy,
that play in these
it's a
things.
real small world when you think about it. Now, remember okay, Dress to Kill was another Brian De Palma film.
Meet you in the ladies' room. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Dress to Kill was another Brian De Palma film. This was directed by...
Right.
And he wanted to really make Psycho, the Hitchcock film, because Brian De Palma just has a thing for Alfred Hitchcock.
Uh-huh.
And that was the one where he has the main character get killed in the middle of the film, and all of a sudden, let's introduce a new main character now. Nancy Allen is the new main character in Dress to Kill.
Nancy Allen could be my main character. She did a great job,
cute,
I thought. And yeah, she was cute in this movie. I didn't like her. I remember seeing her in something else where she had chopped her hair off. And she had like really short blonde hair, and I'm like, I'm not down with that.
RoboCop?
I could have been Oh, she was in RoboCop.
Yeah.
That's where I've seen exactly. She had short hair in RoboCop.
Uh-huh.
That's what it was. That's exactly. But Peter Weller or whatever his name is. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, let's forget about that because she had short hair.
Okay, now that everyone knows everything about the cast of this film, what's the plot of the film, Jeff?
Well, the plot of the film is Carrie, played by Sissy Spacek, is the daughter of a goofy, crazy, nutcase mother in Piper Laurie, who is overly religious, overly overbearing, and it just overly with everything she does, and she is overprotective of Carrie, who has been asked to the prom. Basically Carrie has been this girl that everybody's picked on, right? And finally they get in trouble at school. Some of these other chicks get in trouble at school for picking on her, and this teacher, this PE teacher, who I thought was hilarious, by the way.
Betty Buckley?
Oh, she was great. With the way she was punishing those girls out there, I was rolling. I loved it.
She was the mom on 8 is Enough.
Oh, I thought it was great. But now, wait a minute, did we just talk about 8 is Enough in another?
Yeah, Vincent Van Patten.
What's going on here, man?
Vincent Van Patten was in
Oh
Hell
my
Night.
goodness. Anyway,
Small world, man.
Yeah, really, man. She's disciplining these girls, and one girl comes around to her senses and decides that it would be nice if her boyfriend actually asked Carrie to the prom. And it was a legit thing. I mean, she really felt bad about what they were doing.
Amy Irving.
Okay. And she felt bad about what they were doing and decided that William Catt should go and ask Carrie out to the prom and take her, and it was a legit deal. And he
was such a nice guy.
He got
too.
conned into it.
Yeah, he got conned into it, but he was going to make the best of the situation.
And they go, and basically what happens is, if you don't know by now, you've been living under a rock for the last 30 years. But
let's just say the kids play a mean trick on
a very
Carrie.
mean trick, and she looks like Gene Simmons at the end of a Kiss show.
Yeah,
and I got to tell you, Mike.
And the thing was,
hold on, I got to tell you something, okay? Sissy freaking Spacek. Okay? Now let me just say this. When she got the stuff dumped on her, right? And the look on her face, the eyes, the drawn kind of, the drawn cheeks,
almost
the tight expression.
Almost robotic.
Good Lord, she was freaky. Oh my goodness, man. I was like, wow, what effective physical acting this is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unbelievably good.
At the beginning of the film, when all the kids were terrorizing her in the shower, she had serious terror in her eyes.
Oh,
she was
played
freaking
it
out.
beautifully.
I was watching that, I saw this movie, 15, 20 years ago, and I was just watching it now just going, wow, what a powerful performance.
Yeah.
And, it goes right back to the beginning, what we were talking about. Sissy Spacek is one of the few real solid actresses out there who really knows how to deliver the goods in the part.
Jeez, you're kidding me? I mean, like I said, everything you see Sissy Spacek in, man, it got integrity written all over it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be horror. It doesn't have to be anything. It just, as long as it's a movie and she's in it,
it's worth watching.
That character's got integrity.
Yeah. There's not too many actors and actresses out there nowadays like that who, if they're in a movie, it's worth watching.
Yeah.
Even if the movie sucks, it's still at least worth watching to see that person.
Yep. Absolutely. So, a lot of this movie, it wasn't a real long movie. It was like, an hour and a half or so. But a lot of it just seemed very comedic to me during the middle parts. It was like, between the William Catt character being put up to taking her out and the awkward conversations they were having back and forth to the teacher disciplining the girls. Like I said, I had a teacher like that. The reason I found it so funny is that she was so realistic, and every time they tried to talk back, she would lay the smack on them and put them right back in their place. Man, I just thought it was hilarious. And then, of course, like I said, the John Travolta thing, man. He was just so lit and all over the place, man. And every time she'd smack him, I'd just roar. I would just absolutely roar.
I want to ask you about, the beginning of the film starts out with the girls playing PE, and, Carrie, you blew it, you stink, no one likes you, okay? They've established it in the first 10 seconds. She's the one that everyone's picking on. And then, what do? They play the nice, flowery music, the Summer's Eve music.
I knew you were going to go there.
And then it shows all these girls in the shower, right? And not only in the shower, but we're getting total full frontal.
And they even slowed it down for you, Mike.
In slow motion.
They slowed it down for you, Mike.
And I even was saying to myself, okay, now...
How'd they get away with this?
Number one, how'd they get away with this? With all these girls running around showing full frontal.
Yeah.
And number two... Did the director do that because he figured the music is going to make everyone think this is a soap opera?
There wasn't a lot of wax jobs done back then, was there?
No, but...
Okay, never mind.
But, do you think he did that just so at least, people wouldn't think it was a chick flick? Do you think he did that at the beginning? Look, bam, here you go. I'm giving you all the goods right up front so you can watch the movie.
I think it would have been he felt maybe he would have been misrepresenting it or something if he didn't do that.
I don't know, because the way it was presented, it felt kind of long to me. I mean, in terms of, I don't want to say, gratuitous. It kind of, he didn't need to show everybody running and bouncing and slow.
Shut up.
Well, yeah, I did, but what I'm getting at is it could have been edited out and it wouldn't have affected the story or plot.
You're absolutely right.
Just show the close-up of Carrie in the shower washing herself in the legs, and all of a sudden, wow, guess who just arrived?
When you have a cast of like Amy Irving and Nancy Allen and BJ Souls, are you going to not slow-mo that?
Yeah.
You're going to slow-mo it, Mike. You would have had it on pause.
Okay. But I was just thinking,
you did have it on pause.
No, but
all right,
the director. I was just wondering, did you think the director was doing that being gratuitous, or do you think
a little bit? Yeah, I think a little bit. I think he was taking pleasure in what he was doing. I think he was having a good time. I know I would have been.
Okay.
Yeah, you would have been. You were. I mean, I think you were there. So,
Well, back then they didn't have deleted scenes, so I guess, come on, we got to film it all and put it all in the movie.
Right. I mean, this was a great cast. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if you get this kind of star power together today, I mean, you're talking about a $200, $300 million movie.
That's the other thing. This was a small, little, low-budget
small
film.
little flick, and it worked beautifully. Like I said, physically putting the part of Carrie together. I mean, who else could have done this, man?
Yes.
Okay, now I read a story about this movie which said that Sissy Spacek actually tried out for the part that Nancy Allen had. That was her original intention, was to do that. But no, or maybe it was that she wanted the lead part, but she was trying out for the Nancy Allen part, and she wore intentionally, I think, a really outdated, kind of weird-fitting dress. It showed that she was out of place, you know? And the director saw her in that and saw the way she talked and the way she moved and said, I found my Carrie. I found my Carrie, you know? And he was booting whoever else it was out of there because Sissy Spacek just nailed it home.
All right, so how are we rating this?
You know, this is a good movie, and it's a movie that's often overlooked because it's about a chick or a woman or a girl, okay?
And it's definitely a coming-of-age film.
It is.
But it sure doesn't end up like one, does it?
It's a coming-of-age film right from the get-go. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're right, it doesn't end like one. I tell you, the mom cracked me up.
Piper Laurie.
Okay, I was...
Oh, man, that crucifix she had with the creepy eyes.
Oh, yeah,
Were those
man.
the creepiest eyes on that crucifix?
I know. I was loving that.
And you know what? This film came out 3 years before Friday the 13th. And you know the ending.
Right.
That ending freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what an ending. You know what, though? You got to feel sorry. You know, I'm watching this movie, and I'm feeling sorry for Carrie.
Absolutely.
Because everything bad happened to her, and none of it was her fault.
Right.
Everything was pushing, and then the house, and it's kind of like and Carrie, how can I do this without giving spoilers away?
You don't,
but let's just say I felt really bad for her.
Yeah, I think everybody
she was
did.
a victim.
I think everybody did. That was kind of the point, you know.
Yeah. I mean, everyone focuses on look at what she's doing at the prom, boom and boom, and and
Oh no! They deserved it.
Oh yeah,
I took great pride in that too.
Yeah,
when there was people getting crushed.
Okay, so not only that was it a coming of age film, but it was also a revenge film.
The revenge film, absolutely. And I just want to stress one more time, and you're going to hear me say it probably 4 more times before I cut this review. You got to turn this review off. That the physical acting by Sissy Spacek in that last scene. Watch it carefully. Study that. That's how it's done, folks.
Yeah.
That's how you do that.
Remember,
scene.
I was telling you, Brian De Palma worships Alfred Hitchcock. When she's in the shower and she's freaking out, and Betty Buckley's trying to calm her down.
That's another piece of physical acting. Absolutely.
And the light breaks.
Yep.
The Psycho music plays.
I noticed that.
I
noticed that.
I just watched that and go, oh yeah.
What was the deal with the mirror? I mean, I thought that was kind of a trip. The way it kind of bulbed in and out on her face.
She was making the mirror shake and break because she's unhappy with herself.
Is that what it was?
Maybe representing inner turmoil, conflict. Okay, when did all this stuff happen? Puberty with the blood, her starting her first period, and what she end up being covered in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there a connection there too?
Very possibly from beginning to end.
See, wow, you guys, we're starting to sound like cinema school here.
A nice wrapped up story, beautifully presented, good actors, everything about it's good. This 4-star movie.
I don't know. The middle I kind of.
It's 4 stars. Yeah. You know why it's 4 stars though? Because even though you had silliness and you had awkwardness and you had characters that throughout the middle of the movie that may have almost, if they did it wrong, would have really kind of diluted the story. In my opinion, it didn't.
You know what? Thinking about it, I was going to give it a 3-star film, but once again, I'm just thinking about that ending and the creepy Jesus and what happens to the mom.
Beautiful.
So, bam. Okay, I
it's
agree with you.
It's a 4-star
movie,
movie, Mike. No doubt about it. Sissy earned 3 of those.
Yeah.
By herself. The mom and John Travolta earned the rest. Okay?
And PJ's in it.
Yeah, well, but PJ, the thing about PJ, she reminds me of, and you're going to crack up over this one, she reminds me of like the Sherry Moon zombie character. The one that can get really annoying. And that's why I think when she got knocked out in The Devil's Rejects, I did the wave for like 10 minutes, okay? I mean, it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, she's a very pretty girl, but I'll tell you what, that Nancy Allen back in the day, she was hotter. She was hotter. I'm telling you. You can ask PJ, man.
You got to watch PJ in Stripes, man. They have an extended cut.
I've seen Stripes.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
The extended cut. They have extended scenes on it. You got to see those.
Okay.
All right. I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. Can't believe we're talking about.
How did we end up with Stripes at the end of this movie?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just started busting out laughing. How did we get there?
You know what?
We're talking about Carrie. Also, we're talking about
if you
PJ
ever thought that any of our reviews were scripted
or edited
or anything like that, we shoot from the hip. We do not prepare.
We don't edit.
We sit down. We just go, and whatever comes out comes out. And I'm sure we've embarrassed ourselves over the period of doing this for several times, but that's what makes it real. That's what makes it off the cuff. And if you bear with us through some of these mistakes, there's really a good review underneath it all, man.
All right, so go out and rent Carrie. It's a good film.
Bye, Carrie.
This is a bye. This is a bye.
Bye, Carrie. Because you know what, it's a movie that I even revisited over the years, and for it to be on the side maybe a little bit, as you mentioned earlier, of sort of a chick kind of flick. I don't usually revisit those too much, but this one is well worth it. I mean, just for that last scene, and for John Travolta to get smacked. I mean,
okay, to watch John. I was going to say,
watch him get smacked.
No one tells me you got to watch this movie for John Travolta. no one tells me that.
Well, okay. Saturday Night Fever, you certainly do, man.
Dude, you got to watch a movie to see John Travolta get smacked. Ooh, okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah, you're gonna watch that. So, bye, Carrie, folks.
Okay, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy. Jeff, we'll talk to you next week at the Horror Debate.